On behalf of all kids, we at Kid Explorer have a quick message for all the parents out there. Thank you. We know it's a challenging time. You're suddenly working from home, or maybe looking for a new job. You're now homeschooling and trying to navigate this whole global pandemic. It's an unprecedented time in history. But just know we kids look to you as the heroes of our home. Thank you for working so hard to provide for us. Thank you for spending time with us, for encouraging us to get outside, watching movies with us, enjoying family game nights, letting us make forts in the living room, for letting us stay up a little bit past our bedtime. Thank you for having conversations with us. We love you, we're grateful for you, and we salute you. Parents, you rock.
Good evening, parents. How are you? I'm just really happy that you're here with us this afternoon. And I just welcome you to our session as we bring math alive even at home. So I know that other parents will be joining us, but as we go through the afternoon, I just want you to know that we are happy you're here with us. And I do hope that we will also get your full participation. But before we go any further into the afternoon session, I just want to pause with you just for a few moments as we invite God's presence into this evening session. So for this evening, I just want to ask you to just focus a little on Jeremiah 29, verses 11 and 13, or sorry, 11 to 13. It says, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Then shall he call upon me, and he shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. And ye shall seek me and find me, when he shall search for me with all your heart." I just want to remind you, parents, that in the midst of everything that is happening around us, just to remember that God's thoughts has not changed towards you, and it has not changed towards your child or your children. And he said in his word that if you seek him, you shall find him when you search with all of your heart. So I just invite you to just bow your heads wherever you are as we pray. Loving Father, we just want to thank you, dear God, that your words are forever true. And we just thank you, dear God, that you have kept us. And even though our situations may have changed since 2019 or since early 2020, we just thank you that we can always go back, dear Father, to your word and to draw strength, dear Father, from what you have written, and know with confidence that you have not changed your thoughts towards us. And therefore, we can look forward to your blessings. Father, we just ask that even at this time, you will bless all the persons who are participating in this afternoon's program. And Father, I know that there are others who will be joining. And I ask that you will help them to get here quickly so they can benefit from everything that will be shared. And we just thank you, dear God, for the Spirit, for your Spirit that will be with us. We thank you for our children. We thank you, dear Father, for our parents especially. And Father, we just ask that you continue to strengthen them, continue to guide them, continue, dear Father, to provide for them. And Father, we ask that your peace will be with them. So just thank you, dear God, for hearing our prayer this afternoon. And we thank you for answering in your Son's name. Amen. All right. So just welcome once more, parents. And at this time, I'm just going to be inviting our regional mathematics coordinator, Mr. Lamar Edgehill, to bring greeting.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Townsend. A pleasant afternoon to all our parents who are watching us here on Zoom, as well as those who are live with us on YouTube. I really want to welcome you all to our parent session, as we do know that November is truly Parents Month. And this year, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information celebrates Parent Month under the theme, Positive Parenting Impacting Generations. And when you think about this theme carefully, you realize that the role of parents is really a critical one. We know for a fact that COVID-19 has truly impacted how we go about living our lives day to day. But truly, parents, I must applaud you for the work that you have done in ensuring that your child, your children continue to receive education in the best way possible. We note that it's not easy. It is not an easy task to be really traversing throughout this pandemic, but I really want to salute you on behalf of the team here who really look and consider your work to be one that is great. We really hope that you will enjoy our session today that we have for you. We have quite a few things to discuss, some things to share with you today, and we're really happy that you have taken the time to be here with us. As we are about now to engage in our session, I want to take this time to just introduce you to the team of presenters who you will be engaging with today. So first on our list, we have today Mr. Tashane Williams, cluster-based mathematics specialist in the region. Mr. Williams, just allow the parents to see you. All right. Also, we have with us Mr. Siobhan Lewis, primary mathematics coach within the region. And we have also Mr. Shauna Tennant, primary mathematics coach in the region. So this will be your cast of presenters for today, who will be sharing with you as you go through this evening session. Now, before I hand over to them to share with you, I just want to have a quick little talk with you, parents. I'll be sharing my screen at this point in time, and I'll just be sharing a few tips with you as you seek to continue this process of education as you engage and allow for your children to learn from home. So in this time when you are here trying your best to engage and allow for learning to take place, it is very important that as parents you provide a learning environment for your children. It is important that as you seek to ensure that your child is still learning and learning from home, we need to ensure that there's a little space at home. There could be a little table, a little corner somewhere in the house where you designate as the learning environment. It is very important that your child doesn't stay in bed and go to school. It cannot be a situation where the very place where they're going to play or eat or sleep is the same place where they're going to learn. There's a psychological process that we have to consider. And once we designate an area for learning, once you go into that space, it means that fully you're going to be taking on a mindset that is ready to learn. In addition to having within your home a set environment to learn, there has to also be a routine that they must follow. It cannot be a thing that you allow the children to stay in bed, get up, stretch, and then take up the tablet and ready for class. It doesn't work like that. We want you to ensure that when your child gets up, they come out of the bed, they bathe if they need to, they brush their teeth, they have their breakfast, and then from there, they move into the environment from which they'll be actually learning. So please ensure, parents, that at home, you have a routine in place for your children when it comes down to online education. The next important part too is that we must at all times demonstrate an interest in learning. We should not just leave it up to the teachers to just engage the children, but it's also important that when you come home from work or whatever you're doing, from time to time, you ask your child, so tell me, what have you learned today? What do you learn today? And even if the content is not what you're accustomed to, it is still important to allow them to share with you so that you can have a better understanding of what they're doing, and they, your children, also realize that you have an interest in what they're learning as well. It is also important that you stay abreast with the teacher. Every now and again, you need to call the teacher, check up on the teacher to see what is happening, because you want to be able to match what your child is telling you against what your teacher has to share. So that at all times, your child will know and be fully aware that you are also in dialogue with the teacher, and they can't play any games with you. They have to just tell you the truth. And I'm sure parents, you want the truth from your children. In addition to that, you have to ensure that while you're at home, you find every single opportunity for learning to take place. As you seek to move around the whole house, and as your children engage in different household tasks and chores, we must be able to identify means and ways by which we are able to identify math concepts. You could be sharing something out. You could use the language. Give me a quarter of what you have. Give me a half. You could be looking at a task that is time bound. Look at the elapsed time. So wherever you see the opportunity, parents, we want you to be able to infuse that into the day-to-day activities. And then there also has to be consideration for the various online opportunities. Beyond what is there for the teacher, you as parents too have a role to play in ensuring that your child is engaged to the fullest. So you have websites such as Live Worksheets, and the link will be posted in the chat for you as well. So you can always write it down or copy it and put it somewhere for later. But Live Worksheets is a platform free of cost, where all you're required to do is go to the website, and from there, you can always type in the topic that your child is doing, and the website will generate a worksheet for you. And you can give it to your child to say, work these questions. So you have a platform where you can get additional practice for your child. In addition to that, we have also Khan Academy. Khan Academy is a wonderful website where you can go and watch videos. It behaves similarly to YouTube. However, on Khan Academy, when you watch the videos, at the end of each video, there are actually practice questions that this website will provide for your child. And having done those questions, the website will tell you whether or not you're correct. So parents, capitalize on this opportunity and utilize these two resources. In addition to these two websites though, we have also the Toy Theater. And Toy Theater is actually a website where you can go and play games online free. And these games are related to various math topics that are taught to your child. So it's important that you, beyond what the teacher does in the physical space or in the virtual space, you too can play a role in ensuring that your child is engaged in the area of mathematics. Then we have the good old YouTube. We know it all so well. It is where we go to watch all manner of videos. YouTube, just as how we use it for entertainment, it can equally be used for education as well. So if it is that there's a question that needs to be answered or a topic to be learned, it's important that you consider utilizing YouTube as a space where you can go and watch videos as well. So parents, as you embark on the process of continuing to raise and engender your children, we want to just remind you that the theme for this month is positive parenting, impacting generations. And the work that you put in today throughout this pandemic will be one that will be a ripple effect and a precursor to what it is that people will do in the future when it comes on to how we look at education online, because online education might very well be here to stay. So parents, I pray and hope that you will enjoy today's session. And at this point in time, I now hand over to our presenters, Mr. Williams, Mr. Lewis, and Ms. Tennant, who will take you through this wonderful session. Team, over to you.
Good evening, parents. How are you doing? Let me hear you in the chat. Let me see in the chat. Just give us a feedback of how you're doing. We're just checking in this afternoon. It is indeed an exciting time to be in this workshop with you as we look at positive parenting impacting generation. And we want to do this by bringing math alive even at home. So just check in with us and let us know how you're doing this evening. All right, so I'm seeing persons saying they're good. All right, anybody excited this evening? All right, wonderful. Great, 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 great. It is so, wow. One person said that I am intrigued. Quite interesting. So it's good to know that we're all doing well this evening and that we are all tuning in this evening as we find means and ways of getting our children engaged. We know that it has not been easy in the online space, but we thought about it and we'd want to share some things with you that can assist you during this time. And so we want you to be engaged this evening. So we're asking for your fullest participation and cooperation. So we'll be asking you to share in the chat as we go through the various activities. We want you to be a part of the presentation. We want you to own it so that you'll be better able to execute it with your child, with your children within your home. So as customary, we'll start with an icebreaker. Now, the icebreaker a man walked into a pizza restaurant and ordered a medium pizza. The cashier asked if he would like for them to cut the pizza into 6 or 8 slices. The man replied, "Cut it into 6 slices, as I am unable to eat 8 slices." What are your thoughts on this? Let's go right over and share in the chat. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think about the man's response? All right, so I'm seeing somebody laughing. Somebody want to share what the laughter is about? Do you think the man is thinking logically? Okay, somebody saying that he didn't understand the question. Wonderful. All right, so I'm here having somebody saying that it's the same size pizza. All right, that's quite interesting. And this is how we want to ensure that we show how necessary math is within our daily life. So if we should look at it, even in terms of going to the pizza shop, we're talking about math. I see somebody mentioning in the chat about fractionless. We're well in tune. All right, so he's not thinking logically. He is thinking mathematics. All right. So where we want to share with you this afternoon about the importance of math. So even in terms of eating, we can bring math alive within our homes. So taking the child to the pizza shop, indeed math counts. So taking the child to the pizza shop or taking the child out to an event, how can we incorporate math within our daily activity? Well, if we sleep, we use time. There's a specific time that we go to bed. There's a specific time that we get up. There's a specific time that we do certain tasks in. So math is integrated in our everyday life. We want to thank you for your comments and participation in the chat. So in this evening, we want to look at a few objectives for the session. We want to look at the idea of highlighting ways in which the home environment can be used as a mathematical playground to develop strong mathematical foundation. We want to also explore online opportunities for learning. And Mr. Edgil would have shared with us earlier some of the online opportunities. We'll recap some of these at the end of the presentation so that you can have it current. So we want to look at the idea of how we highlight math within the home environment. One might ask, how is this possible? Well, they're now in the home environment. And why are we really doing this? When we think about it, our children have been home for almost 2 years. And so home, the space at home, has really become their learning environment. And we want to see how best we can fit this within our schedule, ensure that we create that atmosphere, that learning atmosphere, that our children can learn even outside of a live session. So we want to see how this is integrated within the home space. So at this time, I'm gonna invite Mr. Egil to launch the poll for us, and we're going to ask for your participation as you respond. Now, it says, which of the following had the greatest impact on you? Is it knowledge to know the best use of the internet? My knowledge of how the best use of the internet, sorry. It has opened my eyes to new ways, approaches to assist my child. I am uncertain about how to assist my child at home as they are not in the physical classroom space. So I'm seeing here where knowledge, the knowledge being limited, we have 25% of the respondents saying that this is what I am facing. All right, so it has opened my eyes to new strategies. We have 78%, 16% say that I'm uncertain. All right, let's keep the numbers going. We can do better than this. So 79%, 81% saying that it has opened my eyes to new ways and approaches. Wow, this is quite interesting. All right, let's keep it going, parents. We have 34 responses so far. Let's increase our responses. Let's get those responses in. Wow. All right, this is quite interesting, and I really appreciate how you're responding to the question, because this is really saying a lot to us, even now as we plan for the children and as we plan for you as parents to aid you in supporting your children. So, all right, so the open eyes to new approaches is leading now. So we have 78% and 46 persons have responded. All right, excellent, great. All right, so we want to thank you. And this is really the aim of the session. We know the experiences and we share in your concern about one, the knowledge that some parents would not have as it relates to exploring apps and opportunities for your child to be fully engaged and for your child to learn in a virtual space. We to understand that it will have opened your eyes also to new ways and approaches, and it causes you to think a little different. Am I right, parents? It causes you to think a little bit different as how you assist your child. Some of you might have to stay home sometimes and even assist the child with the work. And we really, really do commend you for the tremendous effort and the successes that you and your child have met. So we want to really look at how we can assist with these opportunities, providing the opportunities that we would have shared. So the overview of the session really is with the knowledge to impact the pandemic on our children learning. We are bolstering the effort with our parents for them to identify and to be better able to use the home environment and online tools to aid the success of their children within this virtual space. So that is the aim this evening. We want to ensure that when we leave this session, we are equipped, we are armed to assist our children in reaping academic success. So this is key. So we want to ensure that we paint the picture. So let us look at the role of education. So the role of education really is to prepare an individual to become a functional member of society. And that is the role. And this role does not only abide within the four walls of a classroom or within the building that we call an institution as a school, but it also happens within the home. If we should look at it, that the home is the first place of learning. And this is where we start preparing them to be functional members of society. We want the children to be able to go out in society, and we want them to function, be positive contributors to the society. Now, in terms of partnership, so students' learning, student academic success is hinged on 3 pillars. 1, this is a willingness, students' willingness. 2, we're looking at parent support. And 3, teacher excellence. And these three combine to create academic success. So we want to ensure that all elements are present within the learning process. So we want to ensure that all the stakeholders are present. So we have the students' willingness, we have the teachers who are working assiduously, and we have our parents who have always been there, who have always been assisting, and even more so are basically becoming teachers in some sense, sharing and ensuring that the child is understanding. You have to learn some of the concepts in order to teach your child, in order to ensure that they are successful academically. And this is where this workshop actually comes in. We want to ensure that we equip you in preparing you for this task of being better able to support the learning process of your child. Now, where do we start? Where does learning really start? It starts in the home. So we want to look at the home as an exploration ground, right? So we know that the home is there. They normally think about when home is where they eat, is where they sleep, is where they spend the hours that they don't go to school, they spend time with family. But we want to kind of widen the scope to think about how can the home be an exploration playground? It's a playground. And it's not just a playground. They're not just playing without a purpose, but it is playing and exploring for learning. So 1, we want to build. We want to also support, and we want to recover. So we want to build the students' ability, the mathematics content. We want to also build their skills. We want to support them in the process of building, and we want to ensure that we allow them to recover the learning loss. We are aware and we are mindful that some of our children would have lost some significant time in the physical space, and they would have maybe not understand certain concepts, and so they would have been somewhat behind. And at this point in time, they're trying to play catch up in order to meet the demands of the education system and to meet the demands of the grade levels that they're at. And so parents, we want to get you fully integrated in the process as you assist with the building process, as you assist with supporting, and as you help your child to recover and recover smarter. Now, since we're talking about learning in the home, let's go to a quick question. Within your home, what are some of the things you could use to teach your child a concept related to mathematics? And I'm going to ask you to share in the chat. Think about it. Within your home, what are some of the things that you could use to teach your child any concept in mathematics? You can state the concept, or you can state the things that you would intend to use. And let us hear. Let us go to the chat So feel free to share. Or what are some of the things you have used over the years to teach your child things, concepts in mathematics? For example, what could you use to teach addition? Maybe subtraction. All right, so I am seeing one person, Karian Lai, sharing that they use, they use peas, they break bulla to make fraction. Interesting, use counters. Wow. Teaching solids, I use things in the home. That's quite interesting. Number chart, eggs. All right, keep it going. They use straws, counters, stone, tiles to measure. This, parents, I am so proud of you. This is excellent. All right, butter stoppers, products. Wow, the clock, the bread, the tile, baking. I am telling you, parents, you are doing an extremely great job. I am so proud to hear these things and see these things in the chat. Wow, dumpling, corn grain. Parents, una the boss, una the boss. Bingo, wow. Money, stone. Interesting. And this is quite interesting. How much you have really been supporting your child. Bones. I would like to hear somewhat about the bones. Wow, and how they are used. Wow. This is quite interesting. Building blocks to multiply, beads to count, recipes to bring out proportion. Wow, he's great. I am telling you, parents, you are mathematicians. You are mathematician. Excellent job, excellent work. Wonderful. Rice gray. I'm telling you, you know the things, you know the things. Really, you really, really do know your stuff. And so we want to share with you a little bit more about some other things that we would have found in the home that could be used, that, you know, maybe we won't readily think about so often. All right, I am seeing Galaxy Tab A, and there's a hand raised. Would you like to share? I could give you the opportunity to share at this time in just about a minute. All right, so matchstick, all right. Money, mainly coins. All right, excellent job. Now, we want to look at some other resources within the home that we can actually use to engage our children. So the good old days. So we know that back in the days, or even now, when we talk about dice, we talk about Ludo, we generally call it Ludi, or we talk about some persons use it for bingo and so forth. We have the good old card pack. So we play trick card, we play pass around donkey, and all of these things as child. We had fun. But you know what? One of the things that we had fun with was that we were actually learning without even identifying that we were learning certain key concepts. And we have the clock, we have the scale, we have both digital scale, we have the watch, we have the tape measure, we have food, and we spoke about the pizza earlier. We have also the good old pencil and paper. We can think about other things as the domino. So Jamaicans are known to play dominoes all over the world, and we are pretty good at playing dominoes. And you'll be fascinated to know how many games you can engage your child in using the dominoes and having them learn certain concepts. So it's quite interesting. We have the calendar, and if I believe I'd be 100% correct if I say that every single household has a calendar. It is something that it is just customary that within every household you can find at least one calendar. Within some, we can find several. And so the big question is, how can we use a deck of cards to develop some mathematical skills, concepts in our child and children at home? So looking at all of these resources that have been shared, so we talk about the dice, the deck of cards, we talk about the dominoes, we talk about food. How can these be used within our home to really teach certain mathematical concepts? And we want to first look at the deck of cards. How can the deck of cards be used? I want you to pay keen attention, as at this time I'll be inviting Ms. Tennant, who will be taking us through this part of the presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lewis. Good afternoon, parents, and I want to also extend my welcome to you all for joining our session. As Mr. Lewis pointed out, this segment will be looking at how the different resources found in your home can be used to teach a different math concepts. We have a number of resources and sometimes they're just lying there. How can we use these? How can we gamify them to help our child or children to learn the different mathematics concepts? So come, join with me as I take you through how we can use the pack of cards to teach different mathematics concepts. And as I go through these, I want you to talk to me. I want you to light up the chat with your different responses. All right, so let's begin. We have the pack of cards, and as you would have known from your knee that there are 52 cards in the pack. Also, we know that there are 4 of a kind. We have our clubs, we have our spade, we also have the diamond, and we have the heart. We also know that there's 13 of each kind. So we have 13 heart, 13 diamond, 13 spade, and 13 clubs. Now we want to know how we can use this pack of cards to help our student, to help our child or children. I see some things coming in. We use to subtract and division and multiply. All right, I agree with you. And here is how. Our first activity. So we're going our first activity. The goal of this activity is that we're going to be making the largest or smallest possible number. But how do we go about doing that? Now, this activity, it can be used for the age group 1 to 3 and beyond. As well as the math concept that this activity will be bringing out is arithmetic fluency, place value, creating large and small numbers, starting numbers from least to the greatest. Now, how will this benefit your child or children? Now, with this activity, doing this activity, they'll be able to work with much speed and fluency, much speed, much accuracy, as well as they'll be able to know their place values a little bit more. They will also be able to arrange numbers from the smallest to the large while comparing numbers from the smallest to the largest. So now, how do we go about playing this activity, making the largest or smallest possible numbers? Let's go to the rules or the instruction of the game. So now the first rule is that you need to remove the face cards, and each of us, we have different names for the face cards. The pretty card, the card with the faces that are your jack, your king, your queen. Remove those cards from the pack. After that, you are going to shuffle the cards. After we shuffle the cards, now we are ready to play the game, making the largest possible number. So as we move ahead, we're going to shuffle the cards and give you, our audience, 3 cards. So we are moving ahead. So say we shuffle the pack. parents. We've shuffled the pack. And these are the 3 numbers that were issued to you. Share with me, how can we arrange these numbers, these cards to create the largest possible number? What we need to remember is that all of these cards represent 1 digit in a whole number. So how can I arrange these cards to make the largest possible number? Okay, I see some answers coming in the chat. I see 542. Okay, so everybody's saying 542. All right, I'm seeing a hand up. Shauna K, can you open up your mic and talk to me? How can I rearrange these cards, Shauna K, to create the largest possible number? You can unmute your mic, Shauna K. Are you still there? All right. So everyone is agreeing. Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How can we rearrange the cards to create the largest possible number?
I am not a parent.
All right. Thank you very much. You can ask your parents to participate in this session. All right, darling? All right. So parents, I see everyone saying 542 in the chat. I'm also seeing Alma. Alma, raise her hands. Alma, can you unmute your mic and share with me how you rearrange the cards to create the largest possible number? Okay, Alma's hand is down. So okay, and I agree with you. I agree with you when you said the largest possible number we can create using these cards is 542. Let's see how we can do that. All right. So you'll realize that if we should rearrange these cards, the 5 takes the place in the hundreds place, the 4 take the 10 place, and the 2 will therefore take the 1's place. Now we've just created the largest possible number. How now can we create the smallest possible numbers using these same 3 cards? What will the smallest possible number be? So I see some answers coming in. All right. And everybody's saying the same thing, 245. Okay. Anybody else? Are there any variations to this answer? All right. Let us see if we are in agreement to the smallest possible number being 245. Let us reshuffle our cards to see if we too agree that it's 245, right? Very good, parents. You're on a roll here. Thank you for participating. Now remember, at times I'll be asking you to open up your mic. Just communicate with me a bit. So feel free to raise your hands. So we agree that 245 is the smallest possible number. Someone is saying 245. Let me go up a bit. Mr. Lewis, can you read the comment made by Josette?
All right. The comment is 245, 2 in the hundreds place, 4 in the tens place, 5 in the ones place.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Williams. And I do agree with you. The 2 is in the hundreds place, the 4 is in the tens place, and the 5 is indeed in the ones place. Now, how is it that we can modify this activity? How is that we can modify this activity for the age group that you may have at home? Now, you can probably ask your child or children to select or to give the largest or smallest possible odd number, the largest or smallest possible even number. For students in higher grades, You can add more cards. So you can probably add a number with five digits, right? And let them order it from smallest to largest, or from the largest to the smallest. There are other ways you can modify this game, so you don't have to work with it just as it is. If you know the age group or the grade that your child or children is in, you can modify this game based on that, right? Good. So let us go to our next activity. And in this activity, we'll be making a 10. So we're going to make 10. Now, this game is suitable for children of age group 1 to 3 and beyond. Now, the math concepts that you can take, or your child will take from this game, is arithmetic fluency, place value, arithmetic fluency and place value. Now, with successful completion of this activity, your child should be able to pick up on the different 10 facts, which group of numbers they can put together to create groups of 10. Let us go into this activity, right? And remember, I want you to participate with me. Light up the chat with your different responses, as well as feel free to open up your mic and share with me. Now, for this activity, select sets of cards, not the face cards, not the pretty cards, that could make 10. All right, so now we'll shuffle our cards and we're going to place our cards face up so we can see the faces of the cards, right? Now, you can determine the amount of cards you want to select at first. So you can say, okay, select 2 cards that when added will give us sum of 10. Select 3 cards that when added will give us sum of 10. Select 4, 5, 6. You determine the number of cards, and it depends on the age group or the grade level of your child. All right, Alma, I'm seeing that you cannot unmute. You can just share your answer in the chat, no problem. Now, is there, looking at the card that is on your screen, is there, and this is a very easy question, I know, very, very easy. It's a shame of me to be asking you this. Is there any one card that sums to 10? Any one card on your screen that sums to 10? As I said, it's a very simple question, and it's so shameful of me to be asking you this. But is there any one card on your screen that sums to 10? All right, very good. So 10, well, the one card we'll be looking for right now is 10. Very good, thank you. Now let us see if we agree. Let us see if that is a card we would have selected. Mr. Lewis? Right, good. So now the 10 is out. Let us move on to 2 cards. Looking at the cards that are now left, is there 2 cards from the set of cards that that add our sums to 10? So I'm seeing Stefan say 9 and 1, 7 and 3. Come on, let's talk some more. 8 and 2, 5 and 5. 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. All right. Let's see if we had any of your answers. Mr. Lewis? Right. So we had 9 and the ace. In this, we're using the ace as 1. An easy way to help your child, especially if he or she is in a lower grade, for example, grade 1 or 2, you can ask them to count the kinds on the cards. Ask them to select how many clubs or how many hearts or how many diamond is on each, and then add it up to see if it's going to give you 10. All right, so we have 9 and ace. From the cards that are left, from the card that remains, is there any set of 2 that we can use to get 10? I'm seeing 6 plus 4 All right. Now, on your screen, you would have seen 3 cards that you can use to get 10. So you would have 7 plus 2 plus 1 that can give you a 10. I'm seeing Catalia saying 3 plus 3 plus 4 could also give you 10. Very good. 4 plus 6, 5 plus 2 plus 3. Very good. And I'm in agreement with you there. I'm right there with you. So you can determine how many cards or how many sets of cards you want to choose to ask your child or children to make a 10. Now, 5 plus 5, right? 5 plus 5, 5 plus 4 plus 1, 5 plus an ace, yes. 4 plus 1 plus 5, right? And I'm in agreement with all of these. So it's an interesting way you can help your child or children to make 10 facts. Now, how can you modify this game to help your child or children? First of all, you can increase the value. So instead of making a 10, make a 20, make a 15, make a 17, you can increase it. You can also ask your child to select 2 numbers that their product is an even number. Addition and subtraction is indeed possible, Peter gave. Select 2 numbers that their product is an odd number. Select two cards that their product is an even numbers. Right. So based on the grade level of your child, whoa, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Very good, Stefan, and I agree with you. I see that with a wide range of responses that your child could come up with. Thank you. And this is how you can do it. Let them explore the game. Let them explore, let them investigate, let them think. All right. Now, thank you very much. The next activity that we'll be moving on to is, and we call it the multiplication. We call it the multiplication war. Now, this activity is played with 2 persons, and if there is more than 2 child in the home, you can use the amount of persons that are there. So it's 3, 4, whatever it is, you can do it. So the goal of this activity is to be the first to multiply and say out loud the correct answer. The goal of this activity is to multiply and to say out loud the correct answer. Now the age group for this activity is grades 3 to 6 and beyond. So the child is in grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, grade 6. They should be able to do this activity. For higher grades, you can modify this activity for higher grades. Now the math concepts that this game or this activity will bring out are arithmetic fluency, multiply single and double digit numbers. Now, the benefit of this activity is that while playing, they'll be able to not only multiply in school, but they'll be able to multiply at home. They'll be able to multiply with much efficiency, with much accuracy. With this, they'll be able to maneuver their place value system a little bit better. So let's go into this activity to see how this activity is played. S. Brown, this activity can be modified and played with younger children, right? So as I said, it depends on the grade level of your child. So first, separate the deck of cards into equal decks. Step 2, players should turn over the top cards at the same time. Step 3 is to multiply the 2 numbers. the first person to multiply the numbers and say the product out loud is the winner. Do this until the deck is finished. The person with the most points win. Let us, first of all, you have a deck of cards, separate it into two equal groups. One person gets one half, the other gets one half. Nobody should turn over their cards before anybody. Both persons must turn over their cards at the same time. Look at two of the cards, multiply them. The first person to say it out loud wins. So if I have a 7 and you have a 6, 7 times 6, 42. First person to shout out 42, get the point, right? Let us go into this activity to see how it works. And I want you, the parents, to talk to me. I want you, the parent, to see how fast you can multiply these numbers. Remove the picture cards. You can remove the picture cards for the younger children. Mr. Lewis, go back a bit. Let me talk to Stefan a bit. You can remove the picture cards for the younger children. However, for the older children that will know that a king is 13, you can and I see the chat lighting up with the first question. All right. Let's go. Let's move into it. I see that you're very excited. Very good. So let us go. The first two cards we have are, go ahead, Mr. Lewis. The first two cards we have are, we have a 10 and a 4. If we multiply 10 and a 4, what do we get? Okay. I see the chat lighting up. 40, very good, and I agree with you. I am right there with you. Let's do another one, Mr. Lewis. Let's see who first can get this answer. All right, the next two cards, we have a 6 and a 5. The first person I'm seeing is Cassandra, very good. So 6 times 5 or 6 multiplied by 5, and I agree with you, it's 30. All right, and I see everybody saying 30 right there. All right. Good, good, good. All right, I'm right there with you. 6 times 5 equals 30. Very good. Let's see if you're able to keep up. Let's see if you're able to keep up. Let's see the third card, Mr. Lewis. 4 and 10. 40. Right. Right. I see the chat lighting up. Okay. Next two cards. Let's go again, parents. Keep it going. Keep it going. You have 7 and 9. What's the product of 7 and 9 now, parents? Come on, man. I know you have it in you. 63. Right. 63. And I agree with you. Good, good, good. Now, you see, this activity can be fun because the child is going to want to get the answer first, right? So it increases their fluency. I'm so impressed with these answers. Very good. So how can we modify this game? What if you don't have any child in your house from grade 3 to 6? How can you increase the level of this game or modify this game for the grade level of the child that is within your home? Now, for younger children, instead of asking them to multiply, and I saw somebody had asked that question before, instead of asking them to multiply, what you can do is that you can ask them to add the numbers. You can ask them to add the numbers. You can ask them to subtract the numbers. All right. For older children, you can increase the amount of cards. So each person can pull out 2 cards. For example, 17 and 19, and ask them to multiply it as quick as possible for older children. All right. So there are more things you can use to do. There are many ways you can modify the cards to play and to increase your child's fluency in mathematics. And there are more card games. If you just go on the internet and type in, how can I use cards to teach mathematics concept? I'm sure you will see different ways that you can use it to engage your child or children. Let us continue. Now, for this segment, we'll be exploring how we can use the domino, the simple set of domino that we have in our household to teach your child different mathematics concept. This segment will be presented to you by Mr. Tashane Williams. So help me welcome him tonight, parents. Thank you.
Let me say thank you very much, Miss Tennant, and hearty welcome to our parents here with us. Indeed, we are grateful to partner with you to empower you to be able to assist your child, our children, and the future. Parents, as you know, dominoes is one of the most popular games in our country, right? From babies pretty much all the way to adults, right? As old as you can think these people are, we play with dominoes. And hence we think dominoes is a potential tool that has been proven actually to increase the mathematical capacity of individuals. And so we want to explore the use of the domino that we have in our household. How can we use the dominoes to aid our students' learning? Mr. Lewis. So, as customary, we would talk about the age group and so forth, but dominoes, it can be used with a variety of different grade levels and age groups, right? But by the end of this activity, you will help me to determine what is it that we're enabling our students to do, or what is it that we are helping our students to become competent at, right? Now, this activity is called Go Fishing, a very popular game too, that we kind of bring over into the domino world. Now, the instruction for this game, parents, is that each player should have 8 dominoes, no more than 8 dominoes. So each player would draw 8 dominoes, right? And the dominoes should be arranged so that the opponent cannot see the faces, right? So if you draw 8 dominoes, I draw 8 dominoes, they're all turned down. They're face down. Now the remaining dominoes would be face down in a pile, right? Now the first player will select a domino, and the second player is asked to select a domino that is greater or less than the domino that you would have selected originally. Now, the second, Mr. Lewis. Now, as you can see on screen, the age group, we have all age groups, and the concepts that we are about to explore would come in place value and in comparing numbers. Mr. Lewis. And we are going to see how beautifully that is done in this activity, an activity that can provide fun and enjoyment while learning in the home. Now, additionally to the instruction is that if each person displays the correct domino, then both dominoes goes face down in the pile, right? If the person does not have the domino that you request, whether the domino is greater or less than, then the person will have to go to the park, go to the sea to go fishing to find a domino. If that person don't find the domino, then that person will keep that domino. Ultimately, the aim of the goal is the person with no dominoes wins the game. And we are going to shadow this game for you so you can see how fun this game can be. Go fishing. Now here we are. And we are going to select our 8 dominoes from the pack. Mr. Lewis? So the first player selects 8 dominoes. The second player selects a set of 8 dominoes as well. Now, if we want to play this game to ensure that there is some amount of equity and fairness, it means that each player will alternate turns, right? And so exactly what we're going to be doing. Mr. Lewis? Now, if the first person selects a domino, that the double 5, and that's a 10, then the next person is asked to select a domino greater than. If that person has in his or her possession a domino that is greater than, then you're going to show that domino and then you're going to put them in the pile. That means fair play. Everybody wins here. But what if, Mr. Lewis, what if we selected the second person now, the second player selects a 1 and asks for a domino that is greater than 1, right? Let's go ahead. Now, if this person selects a domino that is greater than the 1, then it goes into the pack as well. So what if, let's continue, Mr. Lewis. What if the player does not select a number that is greater than the number that the second player has? What will happen is that this person will have to go fishing, and this person will go once. If the person select a domino that is not greater than the number you selected, it means that this player will have to keep that domino and add it to his pile. So it means that your domino now will have to go into the pack. So you have 1 domino less each time, right? And this game can be quite interesting, can be quite fun. It can be a fun activity that a parent and a child would play. Or if you have, children maybe a year or 2 older than each other, they could also engage themselves in this simple activity. Now we can even up the complexity or the level of this game. Now, what if we don't consider these dominoes? What if we have a 5S, right? We know this as 6. We know this as 6. But if we want to up the complexity, we could call this domino a 51, right? 5 and a 1, or a 1 and a 5. We could use those numbers as flexible as we want to. And then the other person would have to be as flexible too. So if they select a 6, that the 64, then that they could say that's a 64, or they could say it's a 46, and continue the game just like that, right? So go fishing, just like the card pack. We can do go fishing with the card pack just the same, and it's an excellent tool for students to learn the value of numbers, numbers that are less than and greater than, or simply comparing quantities. Sir Lewis. All right, let's take a look into what we call now mission fraction. Now, mission fraction, Mr. Lewis, the goal of this game is to be able to use the dominoes to represent fractions, right? And we want to add or subtract fraction. And I want to highlight to you that this is one of the most challenging areas in school, in mathematics, for students at all grade levels, right? And so if we can use fun and exciting ways to learn math, even without thinking, we're not thinking math, but we're learning math while playing a simple game, right? Students will become very flexible and fluent with the mathematical concepts as they progress through the different grades. Now, the age group for this game is grades 4 to 6 and beyond, of course. All right. Now, what are the benefits of this game? The game has several benefits, from students identifying like fractions, students be able to sort fractions from least to greatest or vice versa, or be able to add or even subtract fractions, right? So these are a number of things that they learn in school that we can bring in the home and learn in fun and engaging ways, simply by using a set of dominoes. Now, let's shuffle the dominoes facing upwards. Now, one player will select one domino and the other select two dominoes, right? So with this particular game, one player will select one domino at first, and then the other player will select two dominoes. But why? Now, the first player should choose one domino that will be the difference or the sum of two fractions. Now, the second player will choose two dominoes that will represent the addition or subtraction, right? That would give the result of the domino that the first player selected. Very good, yes, Simon. Well, Simone. So the dominoes can be used also to represent the types of fractions. For example, proper and improper fractions. Yes, excellent concepts to learn in fractions too. Now, I want to engage you in this task, in this activity now. So parents, let's select one domino, right? If the first player selects a double six, right? What fraction is that? I want you to light up the chat and tell me what fraction that is. What fraction would the double six represent here? All right, Simone, I'm seeing one whole. Is there another name for that fraction? One whole. All right. All right, I see Cassandra saying 6/6. All right, very good. Well done. Right, so it's still one whole, but it's also called 6/6, right? And so if we are playing this game and we want to figure out which two dominoes, when we add them with two dominoes, which two fractions, when we add them, we get 6/6. What would those two dominoes be from the same set you have? What will those two dominoes be? We want to find two dominoes that when we add them, we are going to get 6/6 just the same. So we have Simone again. All right, Simone, lighting up the chat. We have 4/6 and 2/6. Excellent, Sharika. All right. And we have 2/6 and 4/6. All right. All right. So the order really doesn't matter if we have 2/6 before the 4/6 or the 4/6 before the 2/6. Excellent. All right. Great work. All right. Let's see if your predictions were actually true, Mr. Lewis. We have 4/6 and 2/6 as you predicted. Well done, parents. You are indeed true math whizzes today. All right. Mr. Lewis? Let's say the second player selects a 1/5. That is the 5S, we call this now 1/5, right? What two dominoes would be appropriate if we were to select them as the sum or the difference? If we were to add two dominoes, what would they be? And if we were to find two dominoes that would be the difference, so this is the difference of two dominoes. What are those two dominoes? We have All right. So we are seeing in the chat 2 3/5 and 2/5. All right. So if we take 2/5 from 3/5, indeed, we will end up with the result 1/5, right? And these are from the same families, and we have to remember that once we have fractions with like denominators, we can simply add the numerators or subtract the numerators, as the case may be. All right, well done. Very good, guys. Mr. Lewis? Let's say this first player, it's now, we have to rotate the turn, selects 3/4, or some persons might call this 3/4. What two dominoes? If we add these two dominoes, we get 3/4 as a result. Or if we were to select two dominoes that when we subtract them, we get 3/4 as a result. What would those two dominoes be? All right, just said, and Stefan is saying 1/4 and 2/4. Right, 2/4 and 1/4. Excellent. Mr. Lewis, let's see if their prediction is so true. Indeed, you are correct. And a round of applause to you all for being so participative and doing so well. All right. Let's continue. So this is an excellent game, guys, that we could use with our students and help them to learn how to add fractions with like denominators. And the same is true if we want to up the level or modify this game for students who are at a higher level. We could even use it for fractions with unlike denominators, right? So thank you so much for participating in that activity. Now let's boom into another activity, something that is more practical to you, something that we enjoy doing. We enjoy playing Ludi and those games, right? And Monopoly and so. So we are going to utilize the dice as another means to learn how to engage the students at home, to learn new mathematical concepts, or to concretize some concepts that they are learning at school. Mr. Lewis. Now, this activity is called To 100 We Go. And so the goal of this activity is for each player, or for the first player really, to reach 100 wins the game. So that's the basic rule. So we're going to be using, could be using 1 die, 2 dice, or 3, whatever the case may be. But in this activity, we're going to be using 2. Now, the first person to reach 100 wins. You have to remember that, right? Now, the age group is grades 2 to 6 and beyond. Now, To 100 We Go will engage the students in mathematical concepts to help improve their fluency and their multiplication and addition facts as well, right? Now, we also have to bear in mind that these activities help to develop the speed of the students, their speed and accuracy, so that they can, move faster with the mathematical concepts when they're posed on paper and pencil. Sir Lewis. Now, the rules of this game is quite simple. The first to reach 100 wins. Using paper and pencil to record the scores, each player takes turn rolling 2 dice. The value on each dice is to be multiplied and recorded. Now, each player will have alternate turns, and so the process will repeat itself until the person who reaches 100 first. And it doesn't have to be 100 exactly, meaning it has to be 100 or more. First wins the game. So let's try this game. Now, this is how the game is played. Mr. Lewis. All right. Now, so let's go back to the PowerPoint itself just for a second. Right. So you have to bear in mind, so there's an animation on this slide that I would like for them to see just before. Right. So after shaking the dice, 2 dice, bam, the first player lands a 6 and a 3. So we know what to do. We have to multiply these 2 numbers. Hit it, Mr. Lewis. So multiplying a 6 by a 3, ultimately the answer will be, all right, I see the chat lighting up. So the answer will be 18. So if a child or a parent says 6 times 3, you know, you get 18. What if you said 3 times 6? What would be the result of 3 times 6? Would it be smaller? Would it be greater? Or would it be the same? Somebody said 3 times 6 is 15. Majority saying 18. Wonder who is right and who is close to the answer. All right. So we're having varying answers that are so true. The answer will be the same. So we have to record the 6 3s 18 or the 3 6s 18 for the first player. And the second player would now get his or her turn to roll the dice to find the product of their numbers. Mr. Lewis, to the animation. So I'm going to bring you across to an actual online app that we can use to play this game. However, in our homes, we have the dice. We can use this randomly, just, you know, playing without the computer. Now, on your screen, you're seeing 2 dice, right? And I'm going to be the first player, and our parents will be the second player, right? I'm recording my score, you're recording your score. Mr. Lewis, let's roll the dice. So I'm going first. Wow, I land 4 2s, so I have 8. So I have 8, Mr. Lewis. Our parents are rolling now. Okay, our parents, what's your score, parents? I have 8, what's your score? All right, 2. So let's keep it going, Mr. Lewis, my turn. So I have 2 4s, 8 again. So I'm now at 16. All right, parents time, Mr. Lewis. Remember, there are 2. There are 4 3s, 12. Parents, what's your total score now? 12 and 2, that would be what? So you're at 14 and I'm at 16. Right, so your 2 plus your 12 now is 14. Very good. Mr. Lewis, my roll again. Oh man, I didn't get the double 5. All right, so that's 3 more to my 16. 3 1s 3 to my 16. That is 19 for me. So our parents rolling. Oh, they got a 3 1s. 3. Excellent. So that's 3 to their 14. Peter Gay, what's your score now? 14 plus 3, 17. All right. And I'm at 19. My roll, Mr. Lewis. All right. So I have 2 2s, 4 now. So 19 plus my 4 is 23. Mr. Lewis, our parents, one more time. Oh my God. I'm so out of luck. Parents, what's your score now? 6 6s, 36 plus. Oh my, Peter Gay, you keeping the score, you know. You're at 53. All right. So this is an exciting game, guys. We're running out of time to play the entire game. So you realize what happened. The dice is a game of chance, and we're using it to determine who can reach 100 first by multiplying and adding numbers in a fun way, right? And you can, of course, provide a little treat here or there and for the winner to make it a bit more appealing, a bit more exciting. So again, parents, well done. This is another exciting game you can use to make it fun for your students while they learn. So this game is similar to the Monopoly where you shake to go all around and, you know, so it's similar to that. So again, well done. And we can up the level of this game. We can increase the number of dice we use, 3 or even 4 if we may, right? And we can make it more productive, more fun and exciting in our home. Mr. Lewis? Right. So now let me thank you again, parents, for participating. And I want to now hand over to Mr. Lewis, who will now bolster his efforts with you to the end of the presentation. Thank you so much. Mr. Lewis, over to you.
Wow, 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 wow. Interesting, the energy. I can feel the energy at home. Parents, you have been doing an excellent job so far. I want us to make some noise in the chat. Let's put some hand claps, some thumbs up. Our parents have been doing an excellent job. I mean, like you were moving sometimes faster than I was. It was quite interesting how you participated and you all worked together. All right, very good. I'm seeing Peter Gay saying very interesting. Thumbs up from Alma. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So we're taking math in the home. We're making it exciting. We want our children to be a part of the fun, and we want them also to learn while having fun. And I know, parents, that you are also excited. I wish I knew these activities when I was younger, because these are indeed fun. So we want to look at another manipulative that we can actually use within our home, the mere calendar, the simple calendar that we would often get at the end of a year because we need to know the dates for the next year. But how could we actually incorporate the calendar in activities? Now, the goal of the activity is they should be able to use readily available mathematical tools in the home. And so the calendar is one of those tools that can be used to do several activities. Now, the age group for the use of the calendar can be grade 2 to 6 and beyond. And I would dare say even grade 1. So the mathematical concepts that they can get from, we can look at statistics, we can look at analytical thinking, we can look at arithmetic fluency. And when we talk about arithmetic fluency, I know that you have been hearing this a whole lot. We're talking about the addition, we're talking about subtraction, we're talking about multiplication, and all of that. We can use it to assist with skip counting, identifying numbers, and all these things. Now, your child doing this, how will they benefit from using the calendar? Well, the calendar is one practical way. We can even look at a month as being a number line, and that the number line can have different values. So we know for some months, the number line will stop at 30, for some 31. For a specific month, it might stop at 28 or 29, depending on if we're in a leap year. So we want to look at the whole, how we can incorporate the calendar and have our children use the calendar. So sometimes you might realize that they might have problems adding, you know, that addition is actually counting, right? So if we're saying 1 plus 2, we're moving one place up. So they're at 2 and they'll move over to 3. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Now let's look at this calendar. So here we have a calendar. We're almost in December and we choose to use December. So now December has 31 days. And we want to look at an activity, and I want you to participate in the chat. Send your answers in the chat. So now if we're looking at this specific question, how many more Fridays than Saturdays are in the month? Now, what would you say? Let's hear the chat. I'm going to ask Ms. Tennant or Mr. Williams to assist me in the chat. What are they saying in the chat, Mr. Williams, Ms. Tennant? What are they saying?
We're seeing 1. We're seeing 1. Seeing one, seeing one. How many more Fridays than Saturdays are in the month? We're seeing one, and one is lighting up the way, Mr. Lewis. No other answer than one.
Wow, and it's indeed one. So let's look at another question. If yesterday is Wednesday, what day is tomorrow?
They're taking a longer time. Somebody's saying Thursday, we're seeing Friday, we're seeing a mixture of answers here, Friday and Thursday. Thursday picking up back a lot. Then we're seeing Friday again. And so, food for thought here, Mr. Lewis.
I wonder who is correct. Let's think about it. If yesterday is Wednesday, that would mean that today is what? Thursday, and then tomorrow would be Friday. So here what? Not only that the children are learning mathematics, they are also learning the sequence of the days of the week. If you notice earlier, when we talk about how many more Fridays than Saturdays are in the month, what did you have to do? You count the number of Saturdays that you had, you realize that it was 4, you realize that Friday we have 5 Fridays, and then we'd have to subtract 4 from 5, which would give us or 1. So mentally, the children are actually carrying out these operations. They're building their mathematical skills, their computation skills, their fluency. And this is what we want to happen. We want them to be fluent at adding, subtracting, dividing, multiplying. We want them to be fluent at identifying math and operating without even sometimes using book and pencil. Because sometimes, honestly, we'd send them around the corner shop and they come back with the wrong change. Why? Because they didn't spend the time to calculate it mentally. Now, here's another question. On which day is January 1st, 2022? Let's hear what's happening in the chat. I know we're getting this. I know we're on the ball. Come on, Mr. Williams.
We're seeing
Let's hear
Saturday,
it.
Saturday. Saturday is dominant. Saturday is dominant. Dominant.
All right, excellent. So quickly, someone tell me, how did you identify that it is Saturday? All right, I'm seeing a hand raised. Who is that, Mr. Williams?
All right, participants with the hand raised is Alma.
All right, could Alma open your mic and let us hear it.
Day and New Year's Day fall on the same day.
All right, the day and New Year's Day fall on the same day. All right, anybody else?
All right, we're seeing Fire, Tablet, arm raised.
All right,
Also
go ahead,
seeing
Fire.
Donette Wallace as well.
All
Okay,
right, so let's take one more.
Donette
Yes,
Wallace here.
Go ahead.
The last day of December.
December
on a
31.
Friday.
All right, the last day of December is a Friday.
The Friday, so the next day which would have been the next month would have been the following day, which is Saturday.
All right, excellent job. And I want you to realize the thinking behind it. So it is not their present, but they have to think what is coming next. So they're looking at the end of a month. Now the beginning of a month would be, we start back at 1. So we're basically starting over. All right. So there are other activities that can be done with the calendar, and we can modify it. We can use it in terms of adding. So we can allow them to identify a number. For example, they can identify 9 and they need to identify 5. Now they identify where 9 is, and they'll count on 5. So they would say 9, then they'll go to day 10, day 11, day 12, day 13, and they'll end at day 14. So they would know that 9 plus 5 is actually 14. They can use it for subtraction as well, as they can identify, for example, 9 minus 5, they can identify the 9, and then they would count down. So they would say 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So they would end at 4. Wonderful. So there are other activities, the good old traditional paper and pencil math games. And sometimes I find it so fascinating how we can play these simple little games that we just think it's just all fun, but not even realizing how much we have been learning, parents, over this time. We know that this generation, and you and I know that this generation, from the day they're born, they're on tablet, but we can get them engaged in other activities outside. Give them some screen time and they do some screen break and get engaged in how I can do some math within the home. And it might not necessarily be a card pack or a dice or a domino, but then some simpler card games. And this, it makes it fun. It makes give them a mixture, of variety of ways they can actually learn these concepts that you want them to get, that want them to do well. I know we all want our children to do extremely well, and that's why we are really working at it. Miss Tennant,
Yes.
I'm seeing your hand raised.
Sir Lewis, may I add? So a parent has shared with us as well that Christmas Day and New Year's Day fall on the same day. Now that's an observation that has been passed along several generations, and we're impacting parents here today, and they're impacting the generation. But my question is, a child knowing this also should know that, why is it that Christmas Day and New Year's Day fall on the same day? You know, and it's quite interesting for them to know that it's actually 7 days from Christmas Day to New Year's Day, and hence it will fall on the same day.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Williams. Excellent, wonderful. So we want to look at the paper and pencil game. So we're looking at a Jeopardy. The goal of this is to write questions to the answers in seconds. And all right, and I want us to get ready and roaring, because we are going to get this. And I want to see which parents can think quickly and write a question based on the answer that is given. So we have the age group is 2 to 6 and beyond. So we can change it and we can modify it how we want to, and to fit the various age level or age group of our children. So the math concepts, again, we want to look at the improve the addition, the subtraction, the multiplication, the division. And you'll hear us talk about this a whole lot, because guess what? These are foundation principles, concepts that we'll see throughout every single strand in mathematics. So we call them strand in mathematics. So just to give you a read, so we have statistics and probability, we have algebra, we have measurement, we have geometry, and we have numbers. And these 4 operations are constantly seen within all the areas. And so we're emphasizing them this evening, because guess what? We know that if the students get this, if the children get this, and if you assist them parents and they really get this, then some of the struggles that they would have in some other areas in mathematics wouldn't have even been existing. And so we want to look at also modeling mathematical concepts. Now, here is an answer. What is the question? And this is it. So we're looking at Jeopardy. I don't know, many of us should have been familiar with Jeopardy, that what they do with Jeopardy is that they give the answer and then you're supposed to formulate the question, the possible question that was asked. And that is the same idea. So we're playing a Jeopardy. Now, let's look at this. The answer is 25. What could be the question? Quickly, let us light up the chat. What do we think the question could have been? Let's hear it. I'm seeing fire tablet hand raise. All right. You want to go ahead, Fire? All right. I'm seeing Alma's hand raised. You want to open your mic and share with us, Alma?
Which two numbers give you 25?
All right. Which two number give you 25? And can you give me two numbers that give us 25?
13 and 12.
13 and 12. All right. So mommy is getting the baby involved. I like that. I like how you're having them involved and having them being a part of it. So let's look. We can have several questions from this. And it is, what is 100 divided by 4? That's 25. We have what is 5 multiplied by 5? That's also 25. And we have what is the square root of 625. And the square root of 625 would have been 25. Wonderful. So now that we kind of get the hang of the game, we're going to do a few more quickly. And I want us to respond in the chat as fast as we possibly can. Just think of the question and just post the question in the chat. All right, so I'm seeing Okira hand raised. Let's see if you can probably answer this one, Okira. All right, the answer is 20. What could be the question? So let's hear the responses from the chat, Mr. Williams.
Peter Gay again is on a roll. 4 times 5.
Interesting.
But she didn't ask it in a question, so I'm not sure. I'm seeing Cassandra is saying, what is 10 times 2? Real Jeopardy people, these, you know, man.
Yes,
All
what
right.
is 10 times? All right. So you got the points, Cassandra. You got the points because it's in a question form. Excellent. So what are some of the other things that can come from this? We can look at division, we can look at multiplication, and notice, parents, that this is open for them to use several operations. They can use a mixture of the operations. So if we want to modify an activity like this, we can ask them to use 2 specific operations. So they can use addition and multiplication. They can use division and subtraction. You can ask them to use all 3 or all 4. You can ask them for younger children, you can ask them to use maybe the symbol addition or the symbol subtraction in order for them to find their question.
I like this particular one too, Mr. Lewis. The 1 more or 1 less. So someone said, which number comes after 19?
Interesting. Which number comes after 19? That is, I love that. That is fantastic. Well, so comes after 19. Now we can look at which number comes before 21. And so we can see add 1, subtract 1. It is very much interesting. So the answer is 2. What is the question? Let's do 1 more. Are we getting anything from the chat, Mr. Williams?
I'm waiting for the first person to light up the chat. And that's Tashisha. It's 2 times 2. Not so sure. Peter Gay is the first even number. Cheryl is saying 2 times 2. Peter Gay is saying 2 plus 0. Stefan is saying, what is the first prime number? Cassandra is saying, what is the difference between 25 and 23? Tanisha.
Interesting.
The answers are coming in. What is the right? Again, the difference is, what is 1 times 2? What is 1 plus 1? What is 2 times 1? These are some of the responses in our chat.
All right, excellent. And those are very, very good responses. So I hear a little types of number coming out. So we talk about the first prime number. I hear about the multiplication coming out and so forth. And we can modify as we go on. So now we have talked about the card games, the dominoes, the dice, the pen and paper, pencil game, and all of that. All of that is all good. We talked about also earlier, Mr. Edgel spoke about the online opportunities to get them involved. So they use their device for the purpose of learning and not so much just leisure, but they can have leisure while learning. And we want to bring it a little bit more home. So if they're not able to engage in all of these activities at the same time, let's look within our household of simple activities that they can actually do that will aid their mathematical competency, will aid them to become math whiz. So there's a little quotation. Every experience is an opportunity to learn and grow. And this is how we want to think about the home. Think about the activities that we do, that in every experience that we're having, it's an opportunity for them to learn something. It's an opportunity for them to grow. All right. So what household activities do you think you could engage your child in consistently learning math? Let's see if anybody will light up the chat. Anything that comes to mind that you think you could get your child engaging in thinking and learning math consistently. What are these activities? So having them thinking about these things, how can this benefit them? So they're doing something, they're thinking about math. How is math applicable to this? Are we getting anything from the chat, Mr. Williams?
We're seeing cooking, counting members of the family.
Cooking, counting members of the family.
Right. Cooking, counting baking. So we're seeing kitchen coming out here. How many people are we preparing for? Measuring ingredients.
All right.
Bottle stoppers. Setting the table. Hopscotch.
All right, so we're seeing a number of activities coming out from that we could get them engaged in. But this is something that we do on a consistent basis. We do it probably every week, sometimes every day. Parents don't and can't eat. So we have to go to the market so often to get this, to get that. We have to send them go to the shop to get this because we have to make sure so they eat and they, all right, because I don't know. I heard one parent telling a child that, you know, they need to use their school stomach when they're at home because they're just eating. And sometimes you wonder where they're putting so much food. Well, then let's look at it. Let's talk about the shopping budget. So each week or day or month, some parents shop per month, some parents shop weekly, bi-weekly, all of this. We can incorporate them in this process. And in incorporating them in this process, we're allowing them to work with mathematical concepts. Did you even know that budgeting, that setting your shopping list? Do you even think about how much mathematical calculation you have to do so you get this amount of money? And then because you have this amount of money, what can it buy? What will you have to cut back on and all that? You want them to get so involved in it that they're actually learning math throughout the process. So this activity, and I want us to see, well, basically how quickly we can put together a grocery list and to put together to see if we could basically prepare a meal for a weekend. So we're looking at the weekend would have been Saturday, Sunday. So we're thinking about the Saturday dinner and we're thinking about the Sunday dinner. So on a weekly basis, you routinely create a shopping list for your household with budget in mind, given that your budget could not be more than $5,000. So these are the amount of money we have. You don't have no more money, and you can't spend no more money because guess what? If you're spending more money, then you're probably going in your rent money or your gas money or something. So you're asking your child to create a shopping list for the weekend. So the price are estimated price below. So basically, what would we cook on a Saturday? Well, I grew up traditionally know that Saturday is a soup day. Now, how could you prepare? What would you purchase and what would it cost? You have only $5,000. And you're thinking about what to purchase. You're thinking about what it would cost to prepare a meal for Saturday and Sunday. I'm giving you a minute to think about it. Just quickly jot down your items or type your items in the chat and tell, basically, I'll give a quick estimate of what the sum would have been based on the estimated costs that are projected on the screen. Your minute starts now. All right, so let's see the first parent. Let's see the bargain shoppers. Those who know how to get a good bargain. 45 seconds to go. Now, who is gonna get this one? Who is gonna get this one? Where are the shoppers here? Where are the shoppers?
So
Right.
Galaxy J3, $940. For
Oh,
what?
$940. What did they purchase?
I don't know. But
Well, we
let's
need
hear
to know
from
what you
Galaxy.
purchased, you know.
Yes. What would you take for your soup and at what cost? This person who like the cooking just for themselves, you know, Mr. Lewis.
Well, probably they leave alone.
All right.
All right, let's go, let's go, let's go. 20 seconds to go, 20 seconds to go.
All right. Peter Gay says, Saturday, yam breadfruit and cock soup. That's all I'm using for soup. $920.
All right.
All
What
my
about
saying
Sunday?
yam breadfruit and cock soup for the same thing. I mean, it's a whole heap of yam the cooking, man.
Yeah, man, I tell her the yam, tell her, wow. So you're only using 1 pound of yam, Peter Gay? Only 1 pound of yam? It's saying 1 pound of yam is for $600. You know? So don't watch the number of yam where you see right there. So a 1 pound of yam is for $600. So you only have 1 pound of yam. Did anybody share about the Sunday dinner?
I think I saw someone way up in the chat that mentioned rice and mackerel and 1 rice and 2 pounds of chicken.
All right. Okay. Very specific. So 1 rice and 2 pounds. Does that mean 1 pound of rice?
It appears that way.
1 pound of rice and 2 pounds of chicken. All right. Well, parents, I must say, excellent job. You're very good shoppers and you're considering the use of your money. And I realize that a lot of parents, based on what they would have done, based on what they'd have purchased, they'd have actually saved money from this $5,000. Excellent job. And this is what we wanted the children to be engaging. Allow them to be engaging in some of their planning, the planning of the shopping list and so forth. Probably you'd allow them to write down their favorite snack and they have to work out the cost for it. And you know, if they can't work out the cost, then you decide what happens and so forth. And you teach them basically how to budget, how to spend money, how to manage money. And in managing money is pure math.
Right. Cassandra, Sir Lewis, if I may.
Yes.
Outlined itemized for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, with the items, the cost, and the total per day. And she fell within the budget. And that's good to highlight that this is just one of the remarkable ways that students can do budgeting and assist in shopping for groceries.
Excellent. I want us to light up the chat with some thumbs up for Miss Cassandra. Miss Cassandra, a good parent. Good parent. Cassandra. Sorry to mess up your name. And I really appreciate the fact that how you actually outline the thing and let them see the practicality of it. So how much time would it take? This is another activity. So they use the microwave. How much time would it take to heat, for example, a cup of water? Let them estimate the time and they can punch in the time on the microwave, and let's see if when at that point in time, when the time ends, right, when it counts down and get to that time, will the cup of water be hot? Looking at frozen pizza. So some of us might buy pizza and throw it in the freezer because it's leftover and we decide that we want to heat it the next day for a meal. How much time would it take for frozen pizza to defrost and to be heated to a temperature that can be eaten? Leftover chicken and rice, you know, Sunday, Monday are the best. Sunday, Monday are the best. All right. And so how much time would it take for them to heat up their Sunday, Monday? Cheese bread. Cheese bread is something that they love to heat because they like when the cheese is melted within the bread. Nice. Yes. And so they should be able to estimate this time and know that, guess what? If I put 3 minutes on the cheese bread, the bag is going to start melting. So I need to put like 30 seconds. So they understand these things. They understand time. They can estimate time and they can use time effectively. Now, parents, we're now at the point of reflection. And we always encourage you to, share your reflection. How do you feel about the session? What are the takeaways that you'll take away from the session? What would you want to engage your child in? What would you want to try out now? What are the new strategies you'd have learned and you would have want to share with your child and get them engaged in the mathematics? Let's hear from a few persons in the chat at this time. All right, so I'm seeing Alton saying the dice and the domino. We love it too. We love it, love it, love it, love it. The dice and the domino. Parents, you have done an impressive job. All right, anybody else who'd want to share a takeaway from the session that you'd want to definitely get your child engaged in? All right, 300 minutes, the dice, and wow, and the domino. All right, you got to stop for counters. All right, so we're seeing the parents, all right, the takeaways and all of that. Let's go. Let's hear from like 2 more parents. All right. So I'm seeing the dice and the domino being reoccurring. And I tell you, parents, Jamaicans are known to use dice and dominoes to play games in Jeopardy. Yes, that was an exciting one. The card pop, the shopping budget. Excellent. I'm seeing Galaxy Thompson. Wonderful. Okay. Great. The number chart. And I figure that you're basically talking about the calendar being a number chart. The P's are excellent, good. Excellent. Wonderful. You guys have done a tremendous job and we are so proud of you. Parents, you have made our job so much easier. You are teachers at heart. And we know that the fact that you're here this evening and you have stayed the session with us, that you mean well for your children. So at this time, I'll say to you, keep calm and love math. This is the end of our presentation. I'll be inviting Mr. Lamar Edgell at this time, Regional Coordinator, to share with us his closing remarks. Mr. Edgell.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Lewis, for really you yourself and the team, Mr. Williams, as well as Ms. Tennant. You have truly done an awesome job in terms of really engaging our parents, but I really want to spend some time to reach out again to our parents. I really want to say thank you, parents, for taking the time to be here with us this evening. You have truly done your remarkable part by actually coming into the session, taking part in the games and activities, and I truly hope that you enjoyed yourself to the fullest. We tried our best to ensure that we come up with ways that you can utilize the various resources in your own home to engage your child and your children. I really hope that you'll take what you have done this evening and begin to engage your child in the same activities, and even go as far as to tell other parents, your neighbors, find out who else is around you could benefit from what you have to offer, what we have to offer, what you have to offer in terms of the games and activities. So parents, I think it was a wonderful evening, well spent. I truly enjoyed your presence. I enjoyed listening to the conversations. I enjoyed what you'd have done in terms of your responses in the chat. And it tells me that parents, truly, you are a remarkable set of people. You're doing wonderful. So at this time, we have our moderator with us, Ms. Townsend, and I really love to hear her voice at least one more time before we close off this evening. So Ms. Townsend, please.
Oh my, Mr.
And take us out.
Edgehill. I thought you'd have made that one slip, but parents,
No,
truly
no,
it
no.
was an enjoyable evening. And I was sitting here and I'm saying, boy, as Mr. Lewis said, some of these things I didn't know when I was a kid. And I am just thinking that these are just so ideal for our children, you know, when they're at home. Get them back into playing games, get them off, you know, the devices some of the time, pull out the dominoes, the cards, the dice. I was really, really enjoying the session. And that too, parents, you helped me to enjoy. And I think you also would have helped others to enjoy it. So I too add my thank you, and I do applaud you for, you know, just the efforts you're making in your home. And as you continue to work with your children, I do hope that you will take some of these activities and utilize them and share them with your neighbors. You know, share them as you go along. Share them with your friends at school. Share them when you go on the job. You know, I was in a session and this is what I learned. Let us not only keep it to ourselves, but let us just continue to share with persons in our community, and let us just keep math alive. As we said, we are bringing math alive, even at home. So once again, I thank you, parents, for coming out this afternoon. And I do continue to pray and hope that you'll just keep safe and just continue to do your best as we continue to work with our children. So thank you, parents. Have a wonderful afternoon, rest of the evening, and I will hold up no more of your time. So I thank you so much for participating this evening.